video, I'm going to show you how to create custom brushes in Photoshop. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open a new document from the File menu, and we're going to make this 200 pixels by 200 pixels, and we really only need 72 dpi to create brush tips. On white is fine, and this is actually going to be the size of our brushes. So let's go ahead and say OK to that. And now I'm going to grab my brush tool, and I'm going to make sure black is in my foreground. And in my brushes panel here, I'm just going to grab like a small hard brush. Size doesn't need to be that big, because what we're going to do is we're going to create a brush tip from this brush. And all we're going to do is just paint with black on white. Now I'm drawing horizontal squiggly lines, but they could be circles, they could be dots, they could be vertical lines, they could even be a picture or text. But this is going to be the brush tip. Now once we have our black on white, all we need to do is go to the edit menu and say define brush preset. And when we do that, it prompts us to give it a name. I'm going to call mine My Fancy Brush. You can call yours whatever you want, and you can see the pixel dimension of the actual brush. And when we say OK to that, if we go to the brush as well, we can see that we've actually created that brush, and we can find it within our brush presets. So what can we do with this? Well, if we create a new document, and I'll just create it as a letter size. You see, I have my brush that I just created selected, and I can change the color. And I wouldn't stop there. I would open up the brushes panel, and you can see that while I created my custom brush, I could add some shape dynamics, things like size jitter, which kind of randomizes the size. Same thing with angle jitter. It will randomize the angle of the brush. And if you look down here in the preview panel, you can see what you're doing. You can add some scattering to it in both directions if you want, or just in one. You can add textures to this brush, and I'll just go out here and kind of paint with this. And so you can see creating the brush tip is really easy to do, and not only is it a powerful option, but you can then go in and add a ton of these other brush options to that particular brush. You can even change the blend mode of this brush, and I'll just go in the options here and do that. So the possibilities really are endless. Now I'm going to go back up to my brush as well here, and you can see that I was actually messing around with some text, because as I mentioned earlier, you can do this with text. And all you have to do is just create black on white. So just black text on white. And this even works with pictures. So if you have a black and white picture, you want to convert it to black and white. If you have a color picture, you can actually create a brush out of that. Now if I want to actually save these brushes, I'm going to grab my brush tool again. If I click on the menu flyout, all I have to do is say save brushes. Now when I do this, it's going to save all the brushes in this brushes panel right now. If there are certain brushes that I want to save, like the ones I just created, I could then go to the preset manager, and that will allow me to select multiple brushes, in this case the custom brushes that I created, and I can just save that out as a set, which saves as a .abr file. I can say done. So if I were to go to another computer, I could bring that .abr file with me, and I can go to the brushes panel in Photoshop, and I can just load those same brushes back into my brushes panel, and it will add them to the bottom of the list. And that's really it. All you need to do is create black on white, whether it's lines, a picture, a text, and then go up to the edit menu and say define brush preset, and that will create your brush tip, in which you can add all types of effects, scattering, shape dynamics, color dynamics, and everything else. So give it a try. It's really fun.